And we are back. This is our new segment called Real Talk, and I'm joined today by Matthew Simmons, who's just made the trip in from Bricket Wood. You are a London firefighter and personal trainer.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me, Brian. It's an absolute honour to be here. It's just so surreal. I just emailed yesterday. I feel like I've won, a massive prize in a competition. It's just unbelievable, honestly.
Dude, that's cool, man. I really appreciate you coming in. I wonder if you could just maybe tell people a little bit about you. You know, what's been going on in your life the last couple of years. And, where are you at now?
Yeah, no problem. So I've been a personal trainer for 15 years and I joined, I've always wanted to be a firefighter my whole life. It's been a dream of mine. So I joined the London Fire Brigade back in 2011. So coming up to almost 9 years now. In February, it'll be 9 years. Okay. With that, we do a shift pattern. We do 2 days, 2 nights. So we get kind of like 3.5 days off in between. So I do 46 hours at the fire station, which is, quite a lot anyway, but it's just condensed in. So I get quite a lot of time off. So I got permission from the fire station to carry on doing the personal training on my days off. And it's just really kind of taken off. But at the moment, I'm just completely inundated with one-to-one clients. So much so, I'm probably doing 20 hours a week with that. So my week at the moment is looking at 70 hours. So it's pretty crazy.
And it gets even better because you've got a young one.
I've got a 10-week-old daughter,
10 weeks.
Willow,
Okay. All right.
So.
Okay, Willow? That's her
Willow,
name?
yeah.
2 L's or 1?
2 L's.
That's
two
a cool
L's.
name, man.
Yeah, thank you.
What? How'd you find that name? Why
It was the only name me and my fiance Michelle could agree on. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, the name choice is always crazy.
It was yeah.
I spent months on my kids, so
hard.
10 weeks. All right. So this is really good. I appreciate that because a lot of people that watch this show feel like they're overwhelmed. I think it's something that a lot of people feel, whether it's work, trying to start their own business, personal life, trying to take care of themselves at the same time. So you're working 46 hours with the firefighters, another 20 as PT.
Yeah, 20 plus.
You have the newborn baby, which also means you probably got a lot of stress at home.
Completely, yeah.
First child, right?
First child, yeah.
They never tell you what's going to happen.
It's just.
I'm telling you, Matthew, if they told you what would happen when you have a baby, there would be nobody on this planet.
No,
right?
no. They told you the truth about it, definitely not. No.
Right. It's crazy. And it's enough to test a relationship. And so there's a lot going on here. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, what is the single biggest challenge you're currently facing right now? If there's one thing that you would say you need more help with right now specifically, what would be that one?
I'd say it's time management. I'd say, yeah, it's time management. I find it very difficult to say no to people. I'm almost a kind of people pleaser. I want to help everyone I can. Both my jobs, I get to help people, the general public every day, and I love my job with the fire brigade. And secondly, helping people achieve, their fitness goals, physique goals, diet, health, rehab from injuries, etc. So, I just want to try and do that as much as I can, really.
Okay. And, that's the time management. Why do you think you're not getting what you want right now? Is it because of you're just not managing the time?
I think so, yeah. I think, I want to be there, importantly for Willow, for Michelle, my fiance, and spend as much time, especially, they change so much at this stage. I feel like I'm missing out. She managed to turn over herself the other day and I wasn't there to do that, and I just kind of kick myself all the time. And it's just a lot of pressure on someone. I just feel torn between two places. I'm the sole provider in the household at the moment as well. A big mortgage over my head. It's trying to balance the books in both directions, really. It's very, very stressful. Very stressful.
No, it is. And when it comes to, like the business, what do you ultimately want from this business? Is it about financial freedom? Is it about helping more people? A lot of guys would just be like, okay, I'm a firefighter. I'm 46 hours a week. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the rest of my time. But you obviously want more.
Yeah.
What ultimately do you want? 10 years from now, if you kind of close your eyes, you came back here 10 years and I'm like, all right, what's you been doing? Okay, this is what I did. I got this and this and this. And that gives me the chance to do this and this and this. What would that be?
Yeah, it would be financial freedom, ultimately. I just feel that way it would, the pressure in my home life would be completely gone. I have everything running. I still want to help people, but I just want that kind of, it's the financial burden at the moment, with everything. It's just, I feel like I have to keep pushing myself, churning out as many sessions as I can. And obviously being at the fire station as well, it's just that.
And when you have a low moment, how are you feeling?
It's really low, like seriously low. Yeah, seriously low. If just the pressure from everything, you know, it's kind of trying to please everyone as much as I can, but not please myself. And ultimately, you know, clients aren't happy because I can't fit them in, or, you know, my fiance's not happy because she doesn't see me enough. She doesn't think I'm there for, you know, my little girl enough, which is, you know, completely understandable. I feel the same way, to be honest, you know, and it's really low, really low.
Do you have anyone you can talk to at those times?
You know, we've got the counselling service within the fire brigade, which I've used before in the past. You know, but not so much, really, not so much. I mean, I do speak to my partner quite a bit, and, you know, she's pretty good. She says to me as well, look, you need to, you know, cut your hours down with the training side of things, because it's just, you know.
Right, but she's telling you that, but
Yeah.
you're also thinking, but if I cut that down, we'll never have a chance at financial freedom.
That's exactly what
and
I'm
I
saying,
can't build this dream that I want.
Yeah.
So and also it's funny because we just did an episode here about masculinity and femininity, and, you know, as men, whether we're told specifically or not, there's this expectation what we need to provide.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, do you feel that?
Oh, completely. My kind of, you know, I've always, from a young age, very kind of masculine energy, can be, you know, quite aggressive when I was younger, etc. And I still feel that. Still feel like I should be, you know, the provider, etc. You know.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
And you've got to figure it out. And the thing is that you can't really go home and it's hard to explain that, I think, to your wife or to other people who aren't entrepreneurial, because they're just like, I don't know what you mean. Why don't you do less?
Yeah.
But I mean, I can feel this conversation you're having, because I've had this conversation with my wife. Like, honey, like, I can't just not do this, because then in a few years we won't have that. And so you're asking me to do this, and then everyone's pulling you. So your clients want more. You know, maybe at work they want you to be more present. Your wife wants more of you. Your daughter, in a way, is saying, I want more, because you're missing those moments. You're probably not sleeping as much as you need.
Yeah.
You're probably not taking care of yourself. So at some point this will break.
Yeah.
And when it breaks, it doesn't look good, because then you actually get worse. So say, and I've been there where so then what do I do? What did I used to do? Well, then I would go have a big night out with the guys, because you needed a break, right? So I go drink for like the night out, which means the next day I'm useless. And now I can't see my clients, I'm canceling on them. And then my wife doesn't like me anymore. You know, so it's like it can really spiral even lower out of control when that's happening. So so first of all, I appreciate where you are, man. And,
I appreciate it.
And like a lot of people, they see me at London Real and they're like, oh, Brian, you've always been successful. But like, I've had some of the lowest moments like that I've ever imaginable. People don't realize, like back in 2001, I got to a point in my life where like everything was going so wrong. It was just hard to fathom. So I was super ambitious, kind of like you. I was like trying to do everything. And at the same time, I didn't know why I was doing it. And so what I was doing in my spare time is I was just like medicating myself and partying. So I started drinking, I started doing like party drugs with my friends, and it started getting completely out of control, to a point where I developed a drug addiction. And I was this guy on paper that was like the CFO of this company. And then in the other times I was like calling up my drug dealer, and he was bringing me, you know, like powdered heroin. And that's the way I was taking the edge off. And it got to a point where my girlfriend of 4 years saw this and she left me. My best buddy from MIT saw this and he fired me from that company. I had an overdose. I went to the hospital. I woke up one morning and it was just like, and it was so low. Wow. And then 9/11 happened in New York City, so the whole place was just a mess. It smelled like dead bodies and jet fuel, and we thought terrorists were killing the nation, and there was an anthrax scare. And I got to like one of the lowest point in my life, where I remember I went like 8 days and I didn't actually use my voice, because I didn't talk to another human for like 8 days. Wow. So I got really low, and so like I appreciate when I hear people that are at low points and they're always like, well, yeah, you've always had it, because I haven't. But I had to like dig down deep and figure out like, what do I really want in this life? Like, what's most important to me? And it's usually not about me. That's where I got my energy. So I would say the most important thing, I think, for you to get set in your head is, what's that most core thing that's important to you that's not about you? So you talked about providing for your family. Yeah. And I think when it comes to that business and that personal trainer business, I think the best thing is, and you probably already do this, is to think about what's the best thing I can do for my clients. So the more you can help them, the better you're going to build that business. Yeah. But also to realize you only have so many hours a week. I mean, I'm doing the math here. Most people can't work 70 hours a week, not to mention the time with your daughter. Yeah. So you're going to get to a breaking point. I think also when you sent an email earlier, you said that you would struggle with even some issues about what people would think of you if you put ideas out there and being judged. Can you talk about that? Because that's something we all
absolutely.
deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to a lot of it comes down to social media. So I see a lot of especially Instagram, for example, it's flooded with mainly kind of fitness stuff. It comes up on my feed anyway. So I see it all the time. These personal trainers, this is my client. We're doing this, and people say, oh, you've seen this person, they're doing this, it's great, etc. But I just find when someone's paying for my time and I'm with a client, I'm solely focused on that person. It doesn't fathom, bringing out my phone and start recording them to, show other people for my own kind of building up my social media following. I'm too busy watching their technique. I'm completely engaged in what they're doing and how they're moving, etc. The last thing I want to do is pull out my phone, and it's very unlikely to happen, but if they injure themselves, etc., drop the bar, whatever it may be, it doesn't cross my mind. But I understand that's the way a lot of people engage and get more clients and, online referrals and that kind of stuff. But for me, it feels not so much false or fake. I feel uncomfortable doing it. I feel personally uncomfortable for it.
Do you feel uncomfortable because the client's there, or do you feel uncomfortable about what people might say?
Yeah, I feel it's more about what other people might say. Yeah. He's not so much a sellout, but this is wrong, or getting criticised for something. It's kind of like I'm scared. I don't know enough, and people, question that, etc. That always comes into my head as well.
Yeah, so imposter syndrome is something I see a lot in my business accelerator, where people are like, Brian, I'm not qualified enough to teach this.
Yeah.
There's tons of people out there with 10,000, 100,000 Instagram followers that have done all these things, and I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
And so that leads to procrastination too sometimes, right?
Hugely,
and
yeah.
so that's something that's on your mind.
Yeah.
And then judgment. Oh, well, what do you think you're doing? Or you don't do this full time, or check this guy out. So is that hurting your business, do you think, a little bit?
In the sense where all my hours are one-to-one clients, face-to-face in the gym training. Sometimes do 2-to-1 sessions, etc. But I don't do any kind of online stuff at all with them. So, and with the online stuff, you kind of need that kind of marketing, through the videos, through like the demonstrations, the interaction online, and that's what I don't have at all, really. No kind of media presence at all.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to give you a 3-point strategy that I think is a great way to go forward. And I'd love for you to check back with me in the next, I'd love for this to go 30 days with this and have a plan and see what happens. Definitely. So this is the 3 things I would say. First of all, I think it's super important that you get everyone on the same target. So that really means you and your wife. And maybe your daughter at some point as well. Yeah. But I think it's important that you have a sit down with her, and maybe she'll watch this later. I hope he does. Yeah. And you got a good man here. I think we can all tell that right away. You. But I think, and I'm sure she wants the best from you. I just think I struggle to communicate with my wife, and I've known her for 11 years, 12 years. And you're like, but honey, don't you see what I'm getting here? You assume, I think as men, sometimes we assume they know what's going on. Definitely. But I think what I did here with Mariana recently is I brought her into my work on a Sunday evening, and we put a whiteboard out, and I said, honey, so it was away from the house or away from our usual things where we're triggered by people yelling or the baby. Yeah. And I said, okay, baby, let's plan out our next 20 years. What do we both want? And what's happening? I did this exercise with her. I said, what are we doing? So for you could say, what do we want to do by the end of 2020? 2025, 2030. So Willow's 10 years old in 2030. Wow. Yeah. Where do we want her going to school? This is a good question. Yeah, right? And definitely. Then do 2040. Where do we want her going to college? And I think if your wife sees that and be like, well, what if we have to pay for her to go to Harvard? And that's going to require a couple $100,000. And if we really want this from her, or if we want private school, or if we want to buy a place in St. Albans, then what do we have to do that? And I think when I did this with my wife, and I went out to 2070 and I said, and now we're dead. Yeah. And she started crying. And I was like, but it was just a great thing, because she's like, oh wow, we only have so much time. And I think it got us both on the same page to know that, okay, we're gonna make these sacrifices now to get the life we want.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Really powerful.
So I think logically she knows what you mean, like, honey, I gotta work hard now to get better things. But unless she can be there with you to plan out, okay, where does Willow want to go to private school? Where does she want to go to college? Yeah. Where do we want to move to? Maybe let's even pick a house online. Okay, we know that costs this, and get everyone on the same page. And I learned this actually from Grant and Elena Cardone. And she wrote a book called It Takes an Empire. And it's like, once they got on the same page, exactly where they wanted to go, then it takes so much stress out of being at home, because then she knows and she's part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
They always say if you tell someone to do something, they'll do one thing. If you involve them, it's another thing. So I would say sit down with her tonight, ideally. Yeah. And hopefully you watch this. and just say, okay, honey, what do we want for 2020, 2025, 2030? When Willow's 10, what do we want for her? And if we want these things for her, what's that's going to require for us? So that's what I'd say is step one. Get everybody on the same page. So that's step one. And then find out what's important to her. Like, what does she want in 10 years? It's funny, she might not want what you want. You might say, honey, we're going to need to have £500,000 in the bank. And she'll be like, well, I don't want that, but I do want a house and I want Willow to go to private school. And you'll be like, okay, so we need this and this. And then you'll get on the same page. So I think that would be really important. Next thing, I think, it seems like you're passionate about personal training, and I bet you're pretty good at what you do. But it would be good to really know what you want for your clients and what makes you different as a personal trainer. So, and again, a lot of times people see what's going on out there on social media and they're like, I can't compete with that. That guy's got this method, that guy's got that method. I think it would be important and say, if you had to tell me right now, what are your core values when it comes to having a PT session? So if I said, look, I want to book 5 sessions with you. What makes you, what would you ask me? What would make you different than some other personal trainer out there? What's important to you? What kind of questions would you ask me about the results I want to get? Do you have something that's you? Is what I would ask you. And do you have something right now? And if not, I would think about that.
I think I probably need to think about it because I see such a wide spectrum of people. You know, I don't necessarily have like a unique niche where I work with like these like body transformations. You know, I work with body transformations, but elderly clients that want to be healthy, mobile, and support at the same time. So it's a huge spectrum. It really is.
So for the business, I think there's 3 things here. So we got everybody on the same page. For the business, one thing I'll say we do in our business accelerator is I call something a microniche. So this is trying to get a small sector of people and solving their biggest challenge. And what I encourage my students to do, and I'd like you to do this as an exercise today. Take a 5-year age band and say that's the kind of person I want to focus on. Now, that could be men 50 to 55 that are now struggling with some mobility issues, having a hard time. They're not going to be doing a 100-kilogram bench press. They're not going to be necessarily trying to flex when they're down in Ibiza. But they want to be functional. They want to move. Maybe they still want to do an endurance race. Then they actually have more income as well. So I would say, do you want to focus on that guy, or do you want to focus on the 20 to 25-year-old? Do you want to focus on the person that wants to be mobile and supple? Do you want to focus on the guy that wants to be a bodybuilder? I would ask you to just push it. And I know it's hard because you're going to be like, Brian, I can't move it down to 5 years. I need to do 40 to 60-year-old men. But a 40-year-old man and a 60-year-old man have completely different agendas, incomes, priorities, problems. So focus on who they are. Think about what's their single biggest challenge. What are their habits? What do they eat? What are the websites they go to? What are the vacations they have? What are their incomes? What's the language? And then I would think about how can I solve their problems? Most people look at a business and they think, how can I make money? And they fail. But the great businesses out there say, how can I help that person? One of my mentors says, you want to make $1 billion? Help 1 billion people. So all great businesses start off with thinking, how can I solve their challenges? Ideally in a unique way. So think about that. That's the last part. The third part I would just say is about you. And one of the biggest problems I see with the students that I go into is that they have a lot of cognitive blocks that they don't know they have. So I don't know you that well. We just met. But you look like a pretty disciplined guy. But again, you can work 20 hours a day, and that's not going to get you to where you need to go. You need to work smarter, I think is the problem you're having right now. So we need you to work smarter, and I need you to also think about your own mindset. So I'm going to ask you to do 4 things personally. And again, I'd love to check back with you for the next 30 days. And these 4 things, I think, potentially can take things to the next level. So first of all, I have something I do every morning called Affirmations. Now, affirmations are things that you want to be true in the future, and you say them as if they're true today. And every morning, I walk out of my house, and I start saying these things. And honestly, Matthew, I say them out loud, and old ladies walk by me, and builders walk by me, and kids walk by me, and some of them think I'm crazy. And guess what? I don't give a shit. Because it tells me who I am today, and it allows me to be the person that I am. So I start saying things that I'm a high-value, extremely motivated executive who makes big, bold, motherfucking decisive corporate moves. London Real's the greatest new media and transformation company on the planet. Our mission is to create a mass-scale transformation of humanity. I'm excited by the truly limitless possibilities. We are constantly doing this. We are aggressive. And when I get to something I'm uncomfortable with this, so say I'm uncomfortable getting new clients, or I'm uncomfortable filming my clients on video, I say instead, I'm comfortable doing this. I'm excited to do this. And it sounds small, but it's not small.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to make a video today that I would normally be uncomfortable to do it and post on social media and find out what happens. I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to do this. And all those things that hold you back or that are your doubts, I want you to put in there as an affirmation. It sounds small, but it's not small.
Yeah.
I credit one of those affirmations with the birth of my first son, because we were, my wife and I struggled with like 2 years with like really bad miscarriages and really bad negative energy. And every morning I said, we are the proud parents of a beautiful baby boy. And it didn't happen. But in my mind, it had already happened. So when we had hard times, I was the one that was like, no, baby, we got this. So affirmations are super important. So if you could write down 10 of those and email them to me tonight.
Yeah.
And again, anything that you would normally be hesitant on, worried about people judging this, worried about that, you're going to say, I am that guy. I'm doing that. I am scaling my time. My business is making 10,000 pounds a month. I want you to be like, I am that guy.
My sticking points.
That sticking point. I'm providing for my family. My wife and I are communicating in a great way. I'm spending the quality time with my child. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
So affirmations is one thing. Second thing, it might not sound like this is going to be something that's a game changer for you, but gratitude. I have something that I use. It's called the 5-minute journal. It's a gratitude journal every day, and it's something that I'm grateful for. So it's a lot of times easy. You're in the stressed out place and you're like, I'm trying to do all that stuff. But being grateful for the fact that you're a guy, you're living in one of the greatest cities in the world. Definitely. You're in good shape. You've got a beautiful, healthy daughter. Yep. You've got a wife that loves you, and that you're actually in a beautiful situation. And I know you probably know that, but just saying that is a great way to reframe this and say, you know what, I've got a problem that probably 2 billion people in the world would kill to have.
So true. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And sometimes I'm here at London Real and I'm like, God damn it, this is crazy, this is stressful. And then I'm like, no, Brian, you don't have to do this. You get to do this. So again, you get to have a personal training business on the side. A lot of people wouldn't even have that opportunity. You get to change people's bodies. So a gratitude practice every day, super important. Next thing I'm gonna ask you to do is something I call a low media diet. Now, I don't know what your media consumption's like, but what I get all my students to do is restrict themselves to 1 hour of media every day. That includes social media, Netflix, YouTube videos, even London Real. And what most people will be surprised to find is that they are actually wasting a lot of time thumbing through things, watching things, checking news sites, all the things that don't actually go to their goals. And so even though if you're well-intentioned, that stuff just goes. So you can do now on your phone, it'll tell you how much you're doing, but just restrict yourself 1 hour. That includes Netflix, everything else. And everything else, block into hour blocks and say, I'm gonna spend this hour working on my business. I'm gonna spend this hour spending quality time with my daughter. You could spend a day on Saturday hanging around your family, or you could actually have an hour of intentional quality time with your wife or your daughter and get more out of it. So be like, honey, I'm taking you out to breakfast on Saturday, and she'll be like, wow, that's amazing. And then after that, I'm gonna go build my business, and she'll be happy and you'll be happy. So again, let's block that time out through that time management. The last thing that I want you to do is I want you to do a vlog for me every single day. And this is an amazing way to build your business and an amazing way to get comfortable talking on video, and also an amazing way to find out what makes you different as a personal trainer. So a vlog, this is something I get all my Business Accelerator students to do. That get them to open their phones just like I do now. I go into the audio of the video. I used to hate doing this. This is all selfie right now. Do you hate this?
Scariest thing for me ever.
So like 8 years ago when I started London Real, people think this is natural for me. This is the most unnatural thing for me to do, okay? I was an introverted guy. I couldn't even speak one sentence on camera. Okay, that's you, okay? And so what I ask people to do is do a 1-minute video at first. What I usually get people to do is go live, because then you can't think about it. But literally it's like this. So if people can't see, I got the camera on here, right? And I'm with here. And I just go, hey, what's up? This is Brian. Or say, hey, this is Matthew. Look, I was actually at the gym today and I was struggling with my squat. And I realized that if I just took my feet and pronated them a little bit and arched my back, I actually felt better about it. I got an extra 5 kilos, and it's something I'm just playing with. I would love to get your comments below. How do you squat? Do you back squat? Do you front squat? Do you use the trap bar? What's your max? Do you do it regularly, or do you find out it's something important to you? Leave your comments below. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking about some other lifts that I'm going through, and I would love to get your feedback, and leave your comments below. Boom. So I hit stop there. I go ahead, I post that video. And again, it's just you putting out a piece of content and starting a conversation. That's all it is. And again, it's you never have to judge these things. Again, then it's in your feed, and it's gone. So the point is that you can do that on stories on Instagram. You can do, if it's longer than 1 minute, you can do it on IGTV. But I want you to start putting these ideas. What you're going to find is people are going to say, wow, that was really interesting. This is where I squat. This is where I squat. That video is going to do really well. The next video you do about body weight stuff, about muscle ups, I don't know how you train, you're going to put out there, and you're going to find a pattern. People are going to start commenting a lot more on certain videos. They're going to give you feedback. They're going to say, hey, Matthew, can you talk more about that? No one's ever talked about it that way. And someone's going to say, I don't care about your squat video. That's stupid. Yeah. And you're going to be like, okay, fine. And you're going to learn by 5 vlogs, by 10 vlogs, you're going to start to see, wait a second, I'm attracting a certain type of person, a certain type of question, and you are literally going to find your entire business model and your entire brand is going to materialize right in front of you. If you stop vlogging, it won't. Right. If you never vlog, you're never going to find it out. Yeah, it's true. And I know, is it scary to go post videos?
It is, yeah, without doubt.
Tell me why it's scary.
It's a confidence thing, I think, within inside me. You know, a confidence thing. Obviously, as I'm getting older, I'm 36 now. You know, I don't look the way I did before.
Right.
And you see so many like filters on social media and stuff like that. It's just you worry about what people say. You worry about how you look. It's just
Yeah, that's a big thing. If we go a little bit deeper on that, so, one thing I always ask my entrepreneurs to do is I always get them to think about the person out there that you can affect. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and also I always get them to try to embrace who they are. So you're looking at all the 25-year-olds out there that are posting all this crazy stuff, and you're like, look, the truth is at 36, I'm not going to be able to do what they do or look what they look like. So that's what you're coming from.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you to think about, say, for example, someone like you. So a 36-year-old who knows he's never going to be able to look like the 25-year-old, but wants to talk to a guy who's been there and done that like you. And maybe you come on that video and say, hey, look, this is me, Matthew. I'm 36, so I know I'm not going to get the gains I used to gain. But I also know that I love doing this. It keeps my mind sharp. It keeps me active. I know at any point in time I can rescue someone from a building, or I can go do a half a marathon tomorrow if I need to, or if I need to, save my family or protect them, I can do that. So you look at it as something that maybe you're not good enough. I look at it as a way that can make you unique, and also to openly talk about that stuff. I think that can be your brand.
Yeah.
And if you embrace that, I guarantee there's tons of people out there that are your age that want to hear that point of view, that actually don't want to hear the 25-year-old that's like talking about what they got to eat and the protein and the gains and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, you have a more nuanced message.
Yeah.
You could even be the guy that talks to and trains guys that have new children. You're there.
Yeah.
And you can be like, guys, how many of you have had a child in the last 6 months? I know a lot of you have stopped training. You probably have gained weight, and you're frustrated with yourself, which means you're frustrated with your wife.
Yeah.
What if you could be the guy that has them as clients?
Yeah.
Because you can tell them exactly what you're going through. People want to learn from people that know their struggle and their journey.
Yeah.
So you're looking at something that looks like a problem for your business. I'm looking at it something that can be a perfect thing for your business. So I'm a guy now in my mid-30s. I've got this little girl. What do you do next? I'm the guy that can solve your problems. And when the guys say, well, what do you do when this happens and your wife gets stressed out? You'd be like, that happened yesterday. Let me tell you exactly what I did. What do you do when the nappy changes and you got to do that? This happened yesterday. This is what I do. You got 4 hours of sleep last night. What do I do now? I can't get my same 1 rep max. Okay, this is what I did. I focused on this exercise instead. So maybe you can embrace those quote unquote problems and turn it into your business.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't try to be something you're not.
Yeah.
Try to be who you are. I've always embraced who I am. So these days, man, I'm an American in London. I used to be a greedy banker. I was never good on camera. I never learned how to be this stuff. I mean, last year I told everyone about my fucking drug habit and addiction. I got so many problems in the world. I'm not your typical anything.
Yeah.
But I'm just embracing that, and I'm saying, but that taught me all of these things. So let me just be the best person I can be. Right now I'm 48 years old. I know all this stuff about business and video, and I've had my own struggles. How can I help you? The beauty of the internet is all you really need out there are what I call your 1,000 true fans. If you can get 1,000 people to spend $100 with you this year on your digital programs, your meal plans, all of this other things, that's $100,000 in income. That's enough to start your financial freedom. So, and we can go more later about how we can digitize your stuff so you don't have to do only PT sessions, and we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
But let's first talk about connecting with a client And again, when you feel self-conscious, think about that guy out there right now who is like you. He's totally stressed out. He's working 2 jobs. His body's deteriorating, and he needs your help. And when you feel anxious because you're worried about how you would be judged, just think about that guy who's somewhere right now. He's out somewhere in Birmingham. He hasn't left the house in 2 days. He's super depressed, and your video comes up on the Instagram feed, and he says, wow, that guy Matthew, he was just on London Real. He looks really cool. He just had a daughter. I know what that's like. Wow, I'm going to go train today because of you.
Yeah.
So think about the person you can help.
Yeah.
Don't think about the people that are going to judge you because they're too busy anyways. And once you channel other people, all of that self-conscious anxiety goes out the window. Because if ultimately you want to help people, then your ego just gets checked at the door.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. How does that sound?
That is fantastic, Brian. Honestly, yeah, that's fantastic.
Okay, so first of all, number one, we're going to get everybody on the same page.
Everyone on the same page, yeah.
So sit down. What's your wife's name?
Michelle.
Michelle. Okay, so sit down with Michelle tonight. Ideally, it's in a place that's not a normal environment. So even if you can take her out for coffee, I know you got Willow and stuff like that, but just to a place and maybe a block an hour time out and really think like, honey, what do you want from our life in the next 10 or 20 years? It's really powerful. And be like, okay, well, to get there, how do we get on the same page? What do you want most? I know you want me to work less, but like, what do you want most? If I can give you an hour, what can we do something that's fun? Because a lot of times I find with women is that you're like, but I'm here all the time, but that's not what they want.
No,
they want something else.
Yeah.
So find out what she wants and make time for her. That'll give you time to do what you have to do. Everyone's on the same page. So first of all, that keeps a lot of the stress out. Next, as a business, what do you offer that's unique? You know, what can you differently? Those vlogs are really, really going to help. You know, and that's really going to be powerful. And really start fleshing that out, putting your IP out there. I'm going to watch your videos. I'm going to follow you on Instagram, and I'll give you some feedback on that. And then the third part is that internal mindset. Find out, because I know you got blocks. We all got blocks inside of us. Find out what are those things that are blocking you, and take those weaknesses and turn them into positive affirmations every morning. And no more negative self-talk in your head. And literally say it out loud. This is what I have my students do in my Life Accelerator. They literally walk around out loud. And I'll send you my affirmations as well. So anything that holds you back, that if you're worried about people judging you, I get anxious on camera. From now on, I'm excited and comfortable. I love going on camera. You're going to say that out loud to yourself every day. You're going to talk about numbers. I'm proud that my personal training business is making 10,000 pounds a month. You know, that's what it is. That's what it is. And I want you to have those whole list of positive affirmations. The low media diet and the gratitude.
Yeah, I've got that down, yeah.
How does that sound?
Yeah, that is, I think that'll make a huge difference.
Okay.
Definitely.
Any other things that come up, or questions, or things you struggle with, or any other challenges, or what?
I think you covered it. I mean, it's almost like you can read my mind, you know. I mean, like, I think the dream is, you know, a house in St Albans and stuff like that. I think me and Michelle are both on the same page with that, and we just want the best for Willow and find more time. And I think if I start, you know, doing these foundation stuff and find, you know, my kind of unique selling point and kind of focus home in on that market, that kind of niche market, and then I can really, right, this is where I'm going, you know, that's the direction I'm going in, rather than, you know, being here, there and everywhere else, being pulled in every direction. That's been...
Yeah, I see this all the time. I mean, I see people who they know they have all these great intentions, and you seem like a disciplined guy, you got really good energy, but it's like, without knowing the plan to get there, you can walk around scatterbrained for 10 years.
Completely. Yeah.
Also, let me say one other thing, and this is some real talk. When you get the house in St. Albans, when you get the extra 100 or 200,000 pounds in income, if you don't solve these other things, you're going to have the same problems. And most people don't realize that, because they're like, the money will make me happy. The truth is it won't. But getting on the same page with Michelle and adding value to your clients and going into your own fears, that's ultimately what's going to make you evolve as a human and go to the next level. And that's going to make you happy, Willow happy, Michelle happy. That's really where the gold is.
Yeah.
Now, as one of my mentors said, we have 2 bank accounts, an emotional bank account and a financial bank account. Now, most people try to work on the financial one, right? And that's what you're focused on. My whole life
completely.
I was focused on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make all this money in the world. And I got that, and I realized my emotional bank account was garbage. So I can actually never get there. I can never get the money and everything. So a lot of what I'm asking you to do is on your internal self.
Yeah.
So let's go after these confidence issues, these issues with how you feel about putting content out there, what you aim, adding value to the world. Also, let's get on the same page with Michelle. I think once we get that happening, you'll find that the other things flow into place. The people that I know that make a ton of money out there, they've got their emotional bank account super strong.
Yeah.
And even with London Real, the last 8 years, it's only in the last couple of years where everything about my personal life is coming together, where I've confronted the demons in the past, right? I've gone through my affirmations. I go into my fears every day. When my self-esteem is built up to where I'm proud of myself, honestly, that's when the money comes. That's when all the cool things happen. That's when all the cool people come into my life because they feel my vibe. So most of the time, we have to work on ourselves. So I would say for you, try to go after those demons. Try to look into, why does that make me anxious? Why is that holding me back? And just try to attack it. And once you attack it and do it, you'll be like, wow, I just did that. And it'll build up. I think your wife will notice, your clients will notice, the vibe of your business will be different, and then you'll start finding that success. But without it, even if you happen to get the money, it'll still kind of be a mess.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, because even, before I was like, I want to be really inundated with clients. I've been saying that to myself 5 years ago, that was my goal. And now here I am inundated with clients, but I'm like, this is a headache for me, This is, I don't want this. Yes, of course I want the financial gains from it, but I'm like, how did this happen? So it's, you get what you want sometimes, but unless you work internally, it's not the same. I say, you're filling the financial bank account, but you're not filling that emotional bank account at all,
Yeah, and super important everybody on the same page. Also with your business, I mean, it's good to see that you manifested that. That's why I know you can be successful, because you've got the mindset to make it happen. But the final thing on the business is you're selling your time for money.
Yeah.
And that is never going to end in financial freedom. And I always tell my students this, that people that sell their time for money are you right now as a personal trainer. I always make other people that work at Starbucks, people that work at McDonald's, but also lawyers and doctors. They sell 1 hour for money.
Yeah.
So if you want to make more money, you can do two things. You can raise your hourly rate, or you can raise more hours in the week like what you're doing.
Yeah.
At some point, you can't do either anymore.
No.
You can only work 70, 80 hours a week. And at some point, I had a lawyer the other day wanted to charge me 600 pounds an hour. I said no. So at some point, even they get stopped. And at that point, you have to do what I call productize your intellectual property and digitize everything in your brain to where you can put out all of the best of you in a digital way where literally 100,000 people around the world can buy your digital product and consume it while you are being a firefighter, being a father, doing something else for your business. And that way your business can scale. And that's the missing element, I think, in your business that we can work on as well.
Yeah.
But once you start doing more of these videos and vlogs, you'll find out the IP people want from you, and then you can then scale the business where you're not trading time for money.
Definitely.
And that's where you do the quantum leap, and that's where everything starts to change. But again, if the emotional bank account isn't set up, then that will never happen either.
No,
so,
definitely.
all right, cool. So look, I'm giving you 30 days. I want to see 30 vlogs in 30 days.
Yep.
The low media diet. Tell me what happens with Michelle
Yep.
tonight. And you should come back here in a month and let's do this again.
Yeah,
and let's check out what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Okay, good.
Definitely.
I just want to say thanks for coming in. Like, you guys don't know, Matthew had no idea what was going to happen today. Never met him before in his life. You're going live on camera and talking about this stuff. So, like, much respect to you for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brian. Honestly, watching you, over the years, and always, whenever I'm walking the dog in the morning, I'm watching, a YouTube, or I'm listening to one of your YouTube videos, your interview and stuff like that, and I've learned so much already from you, and to, just, it's amazing. It is. It's just, thank you so much.
Dude, man, my pleasure, man. Thank you so much. Seriously, my
Honestly.
pleasure. If you really want to thank me, then
I'll do this.
do this.
I'll do this to
like,
the letter.
honestly, I always tell people out there, some
I'm
people
gonna do it
stop
to
me in
the
the street, they're like, I was watching your videos, and I was like, the reason we put the videos out is for people to take action, to fight this resistance, and transform themselves. So if you really want to thank me, build this business, build this great family life, and get to the next level. And then I'll tell everybody, like, how great you're doing, and you'll inspire the next person. So
thank you.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Cool. All right. That's been Real Deal. Give this man some love. We're going to share your social media here as well. Watch him, because I need you to help hold him accountable for the next 30 days. We need a vlog a day on Instagram, hopefully YouTube as well. And let's watch this man just transform. You're going to inspire us as well. So super excited. We'll see you next week on Real Deal. Bye.